Oh, you're here again? Wonderful. What a coincidence to meet here, because today, just 2 weeks late, we're going to take a look at the Carno TLC that was released. In terms of design, I have to say I really like it. Not that I had anything wrong with the Carno before, but I think it looks a bit more chubby. And since the skins have changed, of course, I had to choose a new skin. The previous skin was black and red, but there isn't much red left. Choosing a skin is sometimes my favorite thing to do. However, the colors are so often distorted that it's difficult to make a good decision. So, what do you think? Is it presentable? The next important step is the skills. I don't dare to judge whether they are better or worse, as I haven't played Carno often enough for that. But there is definitely a wider selection. Thankfully, the charge has remained unchanged. And so, hopefully well-equipped, we set off on our journey. The sun is already disappearing over the horizon, and for me, a night-blind chicken, the most dangerous time of day is beginning. I wanted to put my skills to use right away, and sneaked up on a conch. Unfortunately, I wasn't as well camouflaged as I had hoped, and in the end, it wasn't a surprise attack. To my displeasure, I noticed that the conch's turning radius is many times better than mine, and I doubted a little that I could win this fight, so I took the bull by the horns. After watching the gameplay, I realized that I had done better than I thought, but the conch generously let me live. Some players vastly overestimate themselves. I wouldn't make such statements if I didn't know that I had really won the fight. But, well, let's leave it at that. Since I try to collect footage for my documentary series while I play, some of the recordings may seem particularly aesthetic or even staged. Well, that's because that's how it is. Unfortunately, adventure didn't want to find me anymore, so I wandered around aimlessly. At some point, it just got too boring for me. Besides, my husband wanted to play with me, so I switched to my Theri. Here, too, there had been a few changes, at least since I last played the Theri. So first, I equipped my skills. After all, that's the only life insurance I have. After I brought Anatorikasu to me with the Waystone, we set off on our journey, and honestly, nothing happened. It was nice to wander around undisturbed, but of course that's incredibly boring for you. That's why I'm taking this opportunity to say that it would help me a lot if you subscribe to my channel and commented on or liked this video. Without this feedback, my videos and my channel will disappear into insignificance. Thank you very much to everyone who has done this. My channel exists because of you. And so that we don't drift into the saddest depths, let's just change the dinosaur. And yes, that's a Utah. A little spoiler for you. We formed a group of 3 and wanted to act as naturally as possible as Utahs. First, however, we all had to gather in one place. But since the Waystone only cost a mere 32,000 tokens, and I felt insulted by my wealth, we set off for a destination that was fairly central. After the slow Theri, the Utah was naturally a welcome change of pace. It took a while for us to find each other, but we finally did it. Now the only question was, what now? Well, none of us regularly plays carnivores, and especially when it's supposed to be natural, we have to hunt. A bit like playing God. Who lives? Who must die? A little Achillo, whom we unfortunately don't tolerate according to our profile rules, made the decision for us. Our goal, however, was only to chase him away. After we successfully traumatized little Achillo, the journey continued. This time after real prey, And now it gets a bit ironic. Which dinosaur do I play the most again? Yes, exactly. Apache. If I'd been Patchy, I would have entered the fight immediately. A single Utah isn't a real threat. The mere idea of running towards the beach is completely stupid. Okay, maybe he panicked, but what strategy was he pursuing? When he saw all of us, he should have fled. But I'm afraid he didn't have a charge equipped. That's a really big mistake for a dinosaur with average speed. You can never outrun your opponent. And so it happened as it had to, and the poor thing died. I actually wanted to abort, but the decision came too late. At least we had a feast. Don't think I don't feel bad about killing my favorite dino, but, as they say, it's the way things are. By handing out the trophy, I wasn't acting particularly naturally, but I didn't want it to go to waste. Fascinating. I've never seen my own trophy before. Not particularly tasty. At one point, I helped a small, ungrateful amarga who was being chased by a critter. But he didn't thank me, nor did he take the trophy. Maybe we should have eaten him after all. Suddenly, we heard footsteps in the distance. A larger opponent would have been a perfect challenge. It wasn't a fully grown dino, but even a young Trex does a lot of damage. So we stalked the unsuspecting victim, as a Utah might have, or maybe not. Who knows? And with a daring and completely unnecessary jump, I probably gave him a heart attack in real life too. The fight would probably have ended in our favor, but it was just meant to be a show anyway. The young T-Rex, who had no idea he'd been abused for one of my documentary videos, was completely panicked and hid on a nearby cliff for quite some time. So, T-Rex, if you see this, sorry. But thank you for your help. At some point, I remembered that I had made the Utahs nocturnal in my video, and they shouldn't have been active during the day at all. Well, I take that back. They're active all day now, 24/7, just as the government would have us working. And when it got dark again, and I kid you not, we ran into an Achillo, the exact same Achillo. I checked the username. My goodness, how unlucky do you have to be? The poor thing seems to be building a nest there. When you're making a documentary, you really have to be cold-blooded. My sweetheart, my happy gameplay style doesn't fit that well. There were Carnos in Green Hills, but they also had offspring, and I don't think anyone was really sure about it. We didn't want to be attacked, and apparently they didn't either. So we just watched each other with suspicion. And unfortunately, my little heart B-side came out again when I spotted a sweet little Apato baby. Sometimes, however, I forget that I'm playing a carnivore, and although the baby was extremely friendly, the mother wanted to spank me. Heartbroken, I left her behind. Once again, we noticed someone sneaking through the undergrowth, a Torvo. Once again, we attempted a sneak attack, and then... Attack! Attack! With his knockback, he managed to knock me back again and again, and I don't think I would have stood a chance on my own. But raptors don't hunt alone, and so we chased him into the forest. His realization that he should press himself against a rock, unfortunately, came a little too late. Nevertheless, he dealt good damage output to all of us. Finally, the poor sausage fell, and we were finally able to eat something. We were actually quite hungry. Our last meal was the pashi, and that had been a while ago. So the meal came at just the right time. When I picked up the trophy, I immediately thought of little Apato, especially since he certainly couldn't have gotten very far in that time. And so, beaming with joy, I handed the trophy to the little sweetheart. I hoped he would grow up big and strong, and hopefully unkillable. But when we returned a little later, I saw the animation of a dropped body in the distance. And indeed, it was an Apato. At first, I thought it was the mother, protecting her child, just as she wanted to protect it from us. But when I looked through the footage, I realized it wasn't either of the two Apatos we had encountered earlier. Shortly afterward, a small raptor harassed us. Not a Utah, though. And while I appreciated the invitation, it's not allowed on this server. Sorry, little friend. Speaking of little friends, my baby-loving eyes spotted something in the distance. A baby! And as fast as my fat legs could carry me, I darted toward the little suicidal dino. And as fun as the gameplay was, it was over just as quickly. But wait! Why am I showing you these Carnos now? Because those are the Carnos that killed the Apato baby, to whom we gave a trophy earlier. I noticed it when I was watching the footage, and honestly, I wish I hadn't seen that. And with these sweet shots, I'll let you out of this video and hope to see you again next week.